Hello and welcome to a book club for games. We are four lifelong friends who love to play games together, and we wanted a better way to do that. So we decided to start a book club, but for games. Every month, we will choose one new game to play, and at the end of that month, we invite you all to watch and listen to us discuss that game. Everything will be up for discussion, from gameplay to sound design, business practices, or really anything else we can think about. So without further ado, I'm Mitchell.
Kevin.
Jeffrey.
I'm Terry.
And this month's game is Avorion. This was actually my game, so I'm going to go ahead and introduce it. Avorion is basically a open world, open universe, in this case, sandbox game. Kind of like Minecraft in space. You can go around gathering resources and building yourself into really whatever you want. It can be peaceful, it can be warlike. But the really big, I think, selling point of the game, for me especially, was you can build your own ships. It's voxel based, so you have a lot of control over what you can make, and that was a big thing for me. Another thing for me personally is I like big ships, and there's not a lot of games out there where you can really get that scale. In this game you can build you have tiny little fighters, and you can build big capital ships if you want that as well. So that's kind of the main selling points and why I picked this game. I like the ability to design and have some of those like progression RPG elements almost, as well as having just the setting of really big spaceships. So that's why I picked Avorion.
It was the most Mitchell game I've ever played.
Yeah,
I think we all said that.
The three rest of us agreed that this is indeed the most Mitchell game ever.
Individually. I mean, we didn't even talk about it like in a group. We just each came up with it.
Yeah, then I think Jeff brought up to me, and then literally the next day I was having a conversation with Kevin, and then Kevin said the exact same thing.
Yeah. So we'll get into it. There will be spoilers for what spoilers there are for this game. And yeah. So I do want to start off with kind of how much did you play and how far did you get?
Like, which is the correlated question. Did anyone actually get past the barrier?
No, I did not.
Nope.
Okay. I think the barrier happens. I forget the name of the materials. I just remember the colors. I think the barrier is between whatever the yellow tier and the orange tier. I think between there is the barrier that's supposed to be like the big story thing of the game.
Yeah.
I think the lore was you needed Avorion to cross the barrier.
No, Avorion's inside. Avorion's in the very center.
You needed it to get in or something. Yeah. That's what I thought.
I think there's a tip that says if you have an Avorion hyperspace core, you can jump rifts. But I'm not sure.
I feel like this is a good time to say this, but we should probably look at our playtime before we mention this, because
yeah,
I did try to finish the game.
I think we all tried very hard to finish this game.
It was my mistake. I did not know how long this was going to take. For reference, we are scheduling about 30 to 40 hours a month per game.
And I believe all of us clearly passed way past that.
I actually didn't hit it. No, I hit it, but I didn't go that much further.
Do you have it up, Jeffrey? Do you mind running us through?
I have mine up. Yeah.
Okay.
I can check for you guys. Yeah. So the thing is, also as a disclaimer, it depends on the kind of player you are.
Exactly.
Because if you're like me and you really enjoy customization and creative building, then you're gonna get a lot of. Okay, well, it depends on the kind of creative building you enjoy. But if you're a big ship man like Mitchell, I'm kind of a big ship connoisseur myself. You're gonna get a fair amount of enjoyment out of this game as long as you're okay with voxel graphics. I have 162 hours on Steam.
Ooh-wee.
Probably. I want to say like 20 of those were AFK though, or probably more maybe. Like I just leave the game open.
AFK? Okay.
Yeah, but I definitely got over 100 hours out of it, and I'm at the halfway point of the game's progression systems.
Yeah. I think that this game is definitely like, they kind of make it too, like it could run on the server because there are a few idle mechanics that you can just definitely wait out.
I think it's also a good disclaimer now to say that none of us played co-op, and a lot of the enjoyment, like co-op makes everything better.
Yeah.
Usually.
Yeah.
For most people. So
well, for games that were designed for it, yeah.
Yeah. There's a good chance, in my estimation, that this game would have been better in co-op. So that would have added even more to the playtime.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just pulled up Avorion on my file. I have 55 hours. Of which maybe an hour or two was AFK.
I can tell you, yeah, Kevin has 49.7.
Yeah, I have 39.4. So my game and I played the least, but that's fine. I had no AFK time. Like it was all pure play time, but yeah.
I found that I think I was talking to Jeffrey a little bit about this. The how I got further was I realized the building while your world is running is clutch.
Yeah.
Like I was running that, so I didn't start really building until I got like a little later when I could have more automation in my ships and stuff.
I only turned that on for the last like 5-8 hours or something, so I did lose a lot of time building.
I didn't turned that on. I turned that on for about half an hour, and then I hated building in the game world. I liked building in the gray space that they put you in.
The gray space makes it nicer.
It does make it easier.
Yeah,
and like the lighting.
I just turned it off. I was like, because I'm assuming based on our discussions that we had previously that I've automated the least.
Yeah,
possibly. Okay, wait. So what?
The thing is,
what material tier did everyone get to?
Yeah,
whatever yellow tier is. I unlocked that like 2 days ago.
A second to last. So
I just hit the yellow one.
Xana.
That's right after Trinium, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, the one after blue.
I've been on the blue one. I did not hit yellow. Yeah.
Wow. So
that's about halfway, I think.
It's already very interesting to me because you played the most, but had the least high tech score. So
well, it's very evident. Because I spent just a fuck ton of time building.
No, but that's the fun of it, right?
Yeah.
You were saying, Terry?
I think Jeff was like 60 hours in and was still on titanium.
Yeah. Earlier, Kevin mentioned that he thinks it made a big difference that he kept the game going while he was building.
Right.
For me personally, it would not have mattered. I always was loaded with resources. I probably have like 60 million credits and like over 5 million of every resource. There was never a resource shortage for me. It was literally I just needed to play the game instead of build.
Okay.
That makes sense.
All right. So kind of on that then is how did you progress? Like how obviously we all got to like up the tech levels, but how did people go about that? Like were you a trader, you know?
I'm a pretty big fan of sandbox games and optimization games. Yeah, optimization games, automation games. Like Factorio or like Satisfactory or so, you know, I'm pretty used to seeing like how the progression loop is meant to be played out and in what ways are you supposed to optimize to quickly move on to the next tier, because that's where all the dopamine hits are, you know?
Right.
So I immediately, as soon as I found out you could automate, I basically built a fleet, because that's basically the intention that I got was, it's a sandbox game. Clearly, they have a lot of different. It's a shallow but wide game. There's a lot of activities you can do.
Yeah.
So the game clearly wants you to automate what you don't want to do, so you can pick and choose the content you do want to do. If you want to mine, you don't want to do cargo hauling, then you can mine yourself manually, and then you have traders for your fleet. Or if you want to do the reverse, you can do that too. Even combat can be automated, which very very free game. In that sense, my progression was pretty smooth. I played on normal difficulty. I know Terry switched to the harder difficulty later.
Yeah.
I don't know if anyone else did.
Because my progression was mostly with shooting things, bounty hunter, and trading.
Same.
Like manually trading stuff until I built the SS Cargo.
Yeah.
So when I was fighting, I just thought that the fighting on normal difficulty was a little bit too easy because your ship doesn't start breaking down until you drop below 40% full health, whereas the next difficulty up, that starts happening at 80%.
Yeah.
Which makes fighting a lot more tense.
Yeah.
Like there were a lot of moments when I switched to hard where like most of my ship stuff would be like breaking down.
I just wanted to finish up though for my progression before I forget. I literally automate every task because I like to have a well-balanced fleet, and then for the actual gameplay, I just killed stuff because that was the most engaging part of the gameplay.
Yeah.
Also, you kind of it's somewhat important to kill stuff at least early so that you can outfit your ships with equipment. It's harder. There are other ways to obtain equipment, but it's a little more tedious.
So I was pretty much like Terry. I hated mining, so I mined probably like 10 asteroids in my whole life, and then just immediately got a captain to start mining things. So I had a small mining fleet and had some like escorts for them. But yeah, I really only did mining, and then like for my ship, I liked doing like the bounty hunting missions or just exploring, like trying to push into the core, slowly building up like my marquee kind of like main ship, while everyone else just made money to like so I can make my ship bigger essentially. So yeah, that was my progression. It was pretty simple. I wanted to make a bigger fleet, but
I
sometimes
imagine that's most people's progression. Your progression far outpaces. Well, I guess it depends on how detailed you want to get with your building, but
Right.
I think even if you're going for like a very basic, unique ship design for every occupation, like I did, then your progression will far outpace any sort of building you'll do, which is why I have so many resources, for example.
Mine was kind of interesting. I think I actually played it more like Jeffrey, which is funny that we kind of just two'd and two'd. Yeah. But I started in veteran, and I got bodied.
Oh yeah,
I flew and I got bodied by a ship.
You
and
didn't listen to the developers. They said only veteran Avorion players.
I listened to the developers. They said this is how the devs play the game, and I'm like, okay, I'm playing like the devs.
You a dev?
If you start on veteran difficulty, does it still give you the tutorial with the adventure?
Yeah. It still gives you the tutorial with the adventure. But like but it's just because it said like this is how we play the game, this is how the game was meant to be played in our eyes. So I was like, okay, I'll play there, because I was like, can't be that bad. And then I got absolutely obliterated by a pirate. Like I think I also was like, I had to mine in the little drone for a little bit, and I was like, bro. So I actually did not fight pirates again until I absolutely bodied them.
You got scarred.
I literally that anime where he goes away and he like power levels. That was me. I literally so I set up a mining fleet first. I made like 5 ships types roughly, and I just had a bunch of different ones. But I think my job in the game was actually just a builder, because I was saying earlier, I just built shit and I automated the exploration, and I just kind of automated even playing the game, going to the center. I just slowly sent my scouts in to scout it out, because it actually is. The scouting is super nice.
Actually, never did that.
Yeah, the scouting is clutch.
Very useful.
Yeah. So I would send them in and they would slowly get in, and then I would build. And then once I've seen enough of my map, then I went in and progressed. And then I would go back. And that was the kind of loop I did.
Yeah. I think you automated sorely. I think I automated the latest. I didn't build my first ship for my fleet, my second ship for the fleet, until I was already like well into titanium. I think I was like 15 hours in before I built the second ship.
Yeah, I basically built until I hit the cap of ships you can have, because you need the new tech.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so how big was everyone's fleet then, if you guys can remember?
I have 2 other ships, and then I have my main ship.
No way.
Yeah.
Honestly, I feel like if you were to take your average video game player,
like they'd probably do something like that. Most people would probably just use the proc gen ships and just go shoot things. They wouldn't focus too much.
Yeah, I have 2 other ships, and one of them is a lady adventurer that I duct tape into oblivion. You'll see it when we pull up the ship designs.
I think I have 9.
Yeah, I think I have 11. Maybe I don't know. I had the max for the nanite tier, I think.
Probably, I don't know. I think it's like 4 each, maybe 12. Yeah.
I have 11. I have 11. I never knew there was a cap though.
There's a cap for each resource because it hits it. So your first one's made of iron, and then to make a new ship later, you need titanium.
Oh, right, because that's the founding.
Yeah, the founding.
Right. Yeah, but it's only 500, isn't it?
No, but you need the new resource. If you don't have the new resource, you can't found it.
Oh, I didn't know it was based off the number of ships you had.
That makes sense.
Yeah, it was based off the number of ships. So that's when I would start progressing the game again, because the min maxer in me was maximum ships, so that I can get as many resources, and then I will go look for the new resource to get more ships.
Yeah.
I
took this game in a much more chill fashion. So I just built ships when I felt thematically appropriate. Like I got a miner captain. Okay, now I got to make a miner ship. So then I would spend like 20 hours making a miner ship. And then, so then I'd play for like 3 hours. Oh shit, I got a scavenger captain. Okay, I got to make a scavenger ship now. So you see how and then
I actually made ships
first, me too.
and then look for captains.
I only did that once because I was inspired to make a freighter. But I made them on order basically because it was literally, I'm not gonna finish this game. I could feel it. I was like, bro,
I was trying for a long time.
I know. I started going and then I got to the edge and I was like, God,
I was legitimately like, I was looking at how much time I was spending building, and I was like, I'm not gonna finish this game if I keep. I'm pretty sure I told Terry about this. I was literally dreading at one point building a circle because I knew I was procrastinating playing the game because building that circle would have taken me like an embarrassing amount of time, and that meant I should have just played the game and ignored making the ship, but I really wanted that ship to be done, and in my vision, it needed that circle. So.
Yeah, no, that's fair, man.
That's part of playing the game, though. I think so. It's not that you weren't playing the game.
But I mean, like, it's things like that. Like, I knew I needed to just play the game. And I needed to stop building. That's why at one point I just stopped building until I needed to actually like build a purpose-built ship.
Yeah, it's weird because I like min-maxed the complete opposite way. I was like, what's the minimum amount of time I could spend in the build menu? And I'm like, I just need minimum 2 other ships because I just need someone to make credits and someone to mine resources for me. And I'll also stick some auto mining turrets on my main ship. So you guys talk, like Jeff was talking about having resource surpluses. I was like constantly like running all my resources down.
I think that's also because you repaired a lot though.
That's true.
I was kind of like Kevin in that my first ship got destroyed.
Yep.
And then I decided, okay, it's time to make a proper like fighting ship because that was just it's your first ship and you're it's gonna be like a small ship and I know it's not gonna be perfect, so I'm just gonna screw around with it. And so I made my first proper battleship and I never struggled again. I actually, even if I turn up the difficulty, it wouldn't have made a difference because that ship never reached below 80% hull.
I still had a couple times when it was dangerous, but yeah.
I hit it. I don't know. When I was going in and fighting pirates, so this game also just, as a side, they did an awesome job of the progression, the feeling.
Yeah.
Like you start from like a nobody, then you're like a fleet commander.
Yeah.
And, like it definitely hits that fantasy,
I think the progression is nice and that's very clear cut.
Yeah.
Sometimes these games, it can be, you'll reach a step where you're like, well, what am I supposed to do now? Like I'm missing some critical thing. The simplicity in the progression system. There's this next tier material you need to get. You need like this module, and they even give you quests telling you how to get it, like the building knowledge.
Yeah.
So there's only really 2 very simple tiers of progression. So again, shallow but wide. If you're looking for a game that, is like deeper, you're not really gonna find it here. But it's the simplicity is also a strength. So.
Oh yeah, on the building knowledge, in my world, I got delayed. I got held back on the nanite tier because the first alliance that I ran into in that band of the universe, they default did not like me, and they were defaulted like minus 30,000 reputation, and they were like the entire starting sector area of nanite. So I just got stuck being unable to get nanite building knowledge for like 10 hours.
Yeah, actually, it took me a long time to grind specifically nanite, and then the other ones were pretty quick.
Yeah, then the blue one, they were like cordial, and I like worked with them enough to build an alliance. And then going from blue to yellow, like the people that I befriended in the blue tier were like, their network is huge and they overlapped into the
that was me too.
The yellow material.
So how did everyone get their building knowledge then? Like, because there's 4 ways to get it, right?
Yeah, I usually kill pirates.
From nanite and blue tier, I killed pirates.
Like clear the sector or build.
Yeah, no, clear the sector. Like destroy their shipyard thing.
No, I never did.
Yeah.
Dude, that takes so long.
The first time it did, and then I learned you can kind of battering ram them.
Terry and I.
My ship is a chonker, and would do like 6% of their whole of the shipyard's hull if I ran it at full speed.
I don't think
I found a purple the large cannons, the 3-slot large cannons that did like plus 500% damage to hulls. It would do like 3k a bullet to hulls.
I literally the first one, I only found one. It's a pirate shipyard, so like I was doing a quest line and I got brought to it, but basically I freaking had like 7 ships. You feel like a badass too when you like jump in and then like 7 your 6 your ship just
I only did that
behind you. And literally we killed all the pirates and then I like probably sat there for 20 minutes and just let it automatically, like I just set all my ships to auto fire at the thing and I was just like this. Because at first I was like, let's use torpedoes, and I'm like, this is still not doing enough damage for me. I don't have good enough torpedoes. And then I just waited.
So I've reached the point where torpedoes aren't that useful. Either that or I'm putting my torpedo launchers in the wrong spot.
Good.
No, I think it's because when you're the only ship in the firefight, they're constantly firing at you, so they just instantly blow up the torpedo when it comes out.
You have to go long range torpedoes.
So for a period of time, I was running into my own torpedoes.
I used actually I still found torpedoes useful in blue territory. I just use it. You use it to shoot at a straggler so that their allies' defense cannons don't reach, and then you can just forget about it because then they'll just die because they're low.
I think
or if you're like on a flank, you can like.
It also depends on how many torpedo launchers you had. My capital ship had like 4.
Yeah,
so
my base ship.
Very few ships would survive 4 at once. Yeah. That's why.
But also, like I eventually set my big anti-hull cannon to auto, and it would just rotate around.
Okay, am I dumb? How do you set things to auto?
So once you have the auto turret, you know how the subsystems come with auto turret slots sometimes, the turret subsystems? When you go into your ship menu, the leftmost tab shows all of your turrets that you have equipped. You literally just click on the turret and then hit A.
Little obtuse.
Yeah, the game it's weird. The game feels like it should be in like the early 2010s, but it was released 1.0 was released like last year.
Yeah.
2.0 was released like 4 months ago as of this date.
It's a really complicated game though.
There were some times when I was a little frustrated. I don't know about you guys, but the first 3-4 hours are not super great.
I wanted to talk about that because if I was not forced to play this game, I don't think I could. I literally, for the first 5 hours, I was playing in like 15 to 20 minute bursts because I would just get so bored. I'd like get so bored and I just turn it off and go play something else.
This is why it's one of those games where co-op would.
Yeah, I was just saying, like I think we played together and just messed around and hung out and chat and stuff would have been nice.
We would have done the thing that we did in Minecraft probably, where we had people who build and we had people who gather resources and fight.
Yeah,
we
like specialized our jobs to each enjoy one aspect of the game.
Yeah, probably. I could see that. But yeah, I was really worried for the first like 4 or 5 hours because like, goddamn, this game kind of sucks, and I just made everyone play it for 30 hours. But then you start hitting your groove, you're like, oh, okay.
I think it's once you get your like first ship. I think it's once you get the integrity field generator. Honestly, like right around when you unlock that is when the game starts like picking up a little bit.
For me, it's for automation.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah,
it's automation.
Yeah.
As soon as you get captains and you realize the value of captains, it's like. The thing is, I'm kind of used to this. A lot of these games, they intentionally, stick you in a shithole. They strip you of everything. It's like Metroid, They want you to feel it. They want you to feel very powerful. Like Kevin said, he felt like the progression was very clear and it felt very good because that's the point. You're supposed to feel worthless in the beginning until you get something going.
When you're
that's why he felt like it was rags to riches. Yeah, because the game sucks. That's why as soon as you start getting a fleet going, you're like, oh man, this is a game now.
Oh yeah. Speaking of being powerless, I still remember my first outing, I had equipped the subsystem, right? And I went out and I looked at the subsystem some more. I'm like, wait, you can permanently install these for better effects?
Oh no.
And then I permanently installed it.
No.
And then my batteries, my generators weren't strong enough. And I was like, wait, I can't generate enough energy to get home. Dude, what am I supposed to do? And I like went into the power thing. I'm like, wait, you can turn these off.
Yeah.
I literally turned off. I had to turn off life support for my crew. Oh no! So that I could generate enough energy to get home to the shipyard.
They didn't need oxygen.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, the crew can actually survive for
I
a
would
while
have
without life
just built
support.
an extra generator.
Yeah,
but you can't build
because you can build everywhere. Oh wait, no,
you need a shipyard to build a generator. So I need to get to a
right.
shipyard and equipment dock so I could unequip the subsystem.
I love the power system because it makes you feel like you're in Star Trek, but I also hated it because I felt like I needed more monitors to play this game. You know, like I feel like I needed like 3 monitors and the ability to put like the ship UI on this monitor, the like other the player UI on that monitor. Like it almost felt like that, and I felt like I needed hotkeys to toggle.
After my first ship, I was like, screw it, and I just made like giant generators inside all my ships, so I like way exceeded the power. But
it's still
so
like,
I didn't mess with
it's
the generation.
so much faster though. Like if you turn off like your gyros, your
if you turn off everything, it like bumps the generation a lot.
It's so
like you can optimize it to like where you actually don't need that much more than you're required to use.
And you can zoom. You zoom because you can keep the thruster on for way longer if you turn everything
you can turn off the inertia dampeners.
Yeah.
It's not permanently install an energy submodule.
I eventually did,
no, you can.
But just for fun.
I did eventually.
I did for fun, just to see what increasing my energy output by 100% would do.
Yeah, you don't really need to plan your ship that well. Actually, okay, I want to say this: the shipbuilding really fun. You get definitely rewarded for building a ship well, but you can circumvent it if you're a scrub like me and just cares about aesthetics. I don't have enough generators. That's fine. I'm gonna install an energy submodule. I literally don't care about energy. Like you guys are talking about energy matters until you get like an energy submodule.
It's mainly the early game where you feel it.
Yeah.
Well, like energy wasn't really a factor for me that much past that point. I just put it on recently just for fun, even though I was already exceeding what I was base required by like 50 gigawatts without the.
Just basically doubled was like my kind of go-to.
Yeah.
Like required and generated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's because I just put all of the combat turret subsystems. Like I think my main thing had 29 armed turret slots.
Did you get the Sotan?
I got the
artifact?
The one that gives you 10.
That one? Yeah.
10.
Oh, I didn't get that.
I think everyone gets that one actually.
Mitchell just did it.
Right?
I did. Do you have to keep the Zotan artifact?
Yeah, the Zotan artifact 3 gives you, it's a turret subsystem that just gives you 10 armed turret slots and 6 auto turret slots.
Oh, what'd you kill to get it?
Pirate boss.
Pirate boss.
It was a pirate boss.
I feel like you probably should have gotten it.
No, you don't have to kill the pirate boss.
Isn't it part of the main quest?
No.
Oh, boss Swokes? I didn't.
No, it's not part of the main quest.
Yeah, I think that it's the first the named pirate boss quest. Where you destroy the shipyard.
I was too far away, and I didn't want to bring my big ship all the way back to go kill him, so I just ignored.
Dude, you just do other things. You tell your captain to fast travel it for 10 minutes, and you know.
Yeah, but I automated every single ship except my main ship. So if I automated that one away, then I would just be sitting there.
No, that's when you build.
So, okay, that's true. Yeah.
Since we're on the topic of ships, should we go ahead and go through everyone's ship designs?
Sure.
I'm down. Who wants to go first? Who's feeling
Should I go first since I have the least amount of ships to share?
Sure.
Okay. Ooh, you got multiple angles? Yeah, I got a couple. Hello World?
Yeah.
So I will say, because I had no idea what to expect, so my names at the beginning were like, I think my universe is called Blarg. And I just named my ship Hello World.
So this is Hello World 1.
What is Hello World?
Hey, it kind of looks like a battle cruiser. I see it.
I
see it.
It is my battle cruiser.
Why is it so colorful?
Because I color coded all of the important blocks.
Okay,
so all the shield,
all
the shield generators are the teal color. All the gyros are yellow. The energy containers are blue, and the generators are red.
It looks like the kind of ship I want to go to a rave with.
Yeah.
Well, that's Hello World. That's the ship that I pilot a lot. It is.
That's your main ship.
It's my main ship. It is decently maneuverable. It has since been improved a decent amount.
Okay.
To be more.
Dude, when you put your first big cannon in, you're like, oh
yeah, it's so big.
Yeah.
Okay.
I actually don't have one.
Do you want to see the next one, Terry, or do you have anything else you want to show?
This is the ship that started out as the basic ship, and then turned into this.
Nice.
Hey, just use your PowerPoint.
It kind of looks like a whale. hey, don't judge.
It's like, yes, please move on to the next slide.
I'm Terry's slide bitch.
Yeah, and I will say the other two ships are nowhere near as functional looking.
It actually, from this angle, looks like a whale, doesn't it?
Well,
I know this is the reverse.
If it was the other way, but that'd be making it go backwards.
I've since moved the fighter dock to a different location because I don't really like using the fighters that much, to be honest.
Yeah. Okay.
I haven't gotten.
Do you want to the lady or the cargo?
Yeah, the Lady Adventure is literally
Lady
just
Adventure.
the Lady Adventure that you
God.
get.
No.
But I just slapped all of the blocks on it, so it's barely recognizable.
There is no function. No form. Only function.
So if you look at the stats,
yeah,
it has 48 acceleration.
Was this the mobile turret platform?
No. That other one was the mobile turret platform. This one is my mining vessel. All those guns at the very front, those are all mining lasers.
You know, it's rough around the edges, but if you like actually smoothed it out and made it like a shape, it actually would look fine.
It's because we laughed, Jeffrey, because this is the Lady Adventure, the ship we got for free.
This is the ship you get for free.
Oh, right.
It's like a generator and another generator.
Oh yeah, I scrapped mine too. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't. But...
Yeah, no. So that's Lady Adventure. The reason why the Lady Adventure has a bunch of the fighter ports is because I slapped the subsystem you get from beating the AI.
Oh my god. He just put those right behind the engines.
Yeah,
they're actually gonna get cooked alive.
Yeah, the thing you get for beating the AI, the subsystem that installs 1,200 AI fighter pilots.
Oh, they're AI, Jeffrey. It's okay.
Yeah, because
I don't.
He's still cooking the hangar.
Fuel melts steel beams, bro.
Yeah, and because I looked online, the AI pilots are all level 0. They're counted as level 0 pilots. So I just literally put it on the mining vessel and put a bunch of like mining laser.
I think this
fighters.
is also just a small interjection I want to make here. Anyone who's worried about playing this game and not being creative, if you like want to play it, you know, and you think you would enjoy the build, you can do shit like this. I was memeing about the engine part. It does not matter at all. You could put your engine in the front of your ship, and it does not have any like. This you can get pretty. It's pretty free, you know. With
this is why Jeffrey has a VTuber model actually, because he's actually crying right now.
Yeah, it's pretty free. And also, if you just don't think you'll enjoy the shipbuilding, they do have like you can go to like the shipyards in the game and purchase. Fully.
No, you can also download.
You can go to the Steam Workshop and download beautiful ships by people who've spent thousands of hours more than you. You can also just use the proc gen, which looks pretty good usually.
This ship used to be a proc gen ship until I slapped all of the stuff around it.
So yeah, like even if you know are not a creative builder, it's fine. If you want to shoot shit.
The last one, the only one that I actually got creative with naming, the SS Cargo.
That's decent.
Hey, that's cool.
That's
a
ship.
That's a ship.
That
right
looks
there,
like
bro.
a freighter.
Oh,
yeah, that's a freighter. Ooh,
I like this.
It. I like it.
It used to look a lot worse when it was tiny.
Ooh, okay.
Bro, you know, this is the ship. I remember. I think Terry showed me this. I was like, no. Maybe it was the first ship, the mobile turret platform. But I was like, dang, Terry, you're using angles now. You got edges.
Yeah.
Like, look, he's got triangles.
Yeah, I put the triangle, like the beveling things between the things to make the boxes smoother, but I gave up on doing that.
Yeah. No,
I was like, it's way too much effort. The reason why I have it on there is because I saved I pretty much took the cargo component, which is pretty much just the cargo box surrounded on all sides by armor, and just saved that as a template.
I did
whenever I get extra resources, I can just slap more onto this ship. Which is why this ship has 20k cargo hold, because I also put all my cargo hold.
Fat, bro.
Yeah, I also put all my cargo hold
mods
subsystems on it, so it has like an extra like 60% cargo.
Nice, cool. That's sick. I like this one. Yeah, that one looks like a big boy right there.
Yeah, and those are my 3 ships.
Okay, who wants to go next?
You can go.
I'll go. Okay, so I'm gonna start out with I themed my ships. Okay, so it all started.
Yeah, I kind of did too.
It all started with that piece that looks like this, the edge, and from there, I themed my ship after birds. So my miner
Puffin.
is known is the Puffin. That's my miner ship. This was one of my earliest ships made. It's still it's okay. I actually did not get another angle.
I want to see the underside.
Here's the stat
cool.
block.
Yeah.
Do you have minor fighters on it?
Yeah, I had minor fighters. Unfortunately did not take the underside. But yeah, this is my Puffin. So this edge, so when you start the tutorial with the builder, you can't rotate until you get to a certain part. And I accidentally put the edge on the block and it looked like a bird to me. And that's how this all started.
The small things.
Okay. And then after the Puffin is my fighter. This is my Eagle. These guys are my fighter ships.
Oh, okay.
Is that
Your crews are so exposed.
I'm going back. They want the view, bro. Okay, they need.
Kevin and I actually talked about that.
Yeah, yeah. I had a lot of fun with these edges. I felt like I could do some stuff.
Pretty cool.
And then this base actually. So this is where the art meets programming right here. Okay, I actually use this section as a template for most of my ships. The center section.
That's where most of your internals are, like
that's where like the generators and shields and stuff are. But this is the Eagle.
Aesthetic. I'm pretty sure most of my crew quarters are like right behind engines.
See, so I let them live dangerously, okay, not hot.
Yeah, he puts it right down the spine of the ship. You know, it's perfectly.
You see right here, you can see these two tiny engines.
Oh yeah.
I put those there because once when I was playing at the very beginning, my engines got killed, but I won, and I was just stranded in space, and I couldn't turn, and I didn't have engines to go forward, so I couldn't get home. So
there's actually a really cool feature that works with that, where when you repair, did you notice there was destroy damaged blocks function or something?
I couldn't repair because I was broke.
I'm pretty sure the point is that you can permanently leave the legacy of battle history on a ship by choosing not to repair. Yeah,
that's cool.
Yeah, see, this is exactly the same effect there. Somewhat.
Okay, so this is the Eagle, and then this is my Pelican, which is my cargo, my trader ship.
Oh, okay. I see the Pelican.
Yeah,
I see the Pelican.
I see the Pelican. Is the beak just entirely cargo hold?
I see less of the Pelican.
No, it's like that's its big beak.
Giant
right?
beak.
No, I see that, but with the other angle, it made it look.
Oh yeah, a little bit. Yeah, this one's pretty blocky. We didn't really want to smooth the edges.
Oh, you actually left thrusters on.
Yeah, I put a few on the front. I know gyros are nicer, but this one also can't spin. Let me show you the
thrusters. Thrusters actually help you though. They still give you different type of maneuverability.
Yeah, thrusters allow you to strafe, which is pretty big. But I stopped putting it on because at a certain point, oh my god, you actually have no roll.
It doesn't need it. It's a boat. It actually pilots like a boat because it has no roll. So it
moves like sails around.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because at a certain point with heavier ships, the thrusters need to be so big in order to actually have an impact that I just altogether stopped putting them on my main capital ship.
Yeah.
It's all gyro arrays, baby. All the internals. 3 million tons of gyro arrays.
Yeah. I leave like
I just
smallest...
said fuck it to maneuverability, so mines are not maneuverable.
So I mainly piloted at the beginning the Eagle, and then I piloted the Tern, which is my Explorer right here. I'm actually most proud of this one. I think I like this one. Cool.
I like how Kevin found an aesthetic. You can see the evolution. He found an aesthetic of making the feathers by stacking edges, and then he applied it to the rest of his ships.
Yeah, I eventually would have done it more, but I got a little tired. I felt like once I stopped playing, I was like, oh, okay. And then, so this is the Tern. This is my main Explorer. And it had slight combat capability. But yeah, it was super maneuverable though.
And you duplicated these, right?
Yeah, I duplicated them.
Okay.
So this is the stat block for my final ship, known as.
You actually went harder on the form over function than I did.
Yeah, this is the Nest, which is my giant carrier.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that accentuates my last point pretty well. I don't imagine this is a ship.
Yeah, so it's not. It's a theme, you know. It's super fun.
Yeah, I know. I'm just.
For a while, it looked like the Martian from like Looney Tunes.
Oh
like the Martian saucer. Yeah.
How come I only see one carrier thing there? Shouldn't you have it like all over?
I didn't have enough. It's too heavy.
Oh, okay.
I didn't have enough. I didn't have
I'm gonna
enough
be honest,
tech
this is just a
to.
station at this point. Do you like?
Yeah.
It moves.
No,
Okay,
I know, but you
I
might
put
as well.
I know it is kind of a station at this point, but I wanted just a big chungus of a guy, you know. So I put like a I don't know if you can. Let me see if I can find the stats. The warp drive range is massive on this guy.
Did you install the warp drive things, or did you just have a giant hyperspace cube?
I had a giant hyperspace cube and I installed the warp drive things.
Oh, 18 sectors?
Yeah, it goes far.
Because I reached 12 or 13 with the hyperspace drive augments, the one that increases your range by like 10, but also increases the cooldown by like
yeah. That's what I put on this
forever.
Too.
But then that cooldown is mostly mitigated if you have a big enough generator and battery, because you can cool down your hyperspace engines by dashing towards boosting towards the little blue square, the hyperspace target. If you boost towards it, it actually like speeds up how fast the cooldown goes down.
I actually didn't know about that until he told me. Again, this is one of those things where it's like,
oh, really?
The UI definitely.
You didn't know that?
Definitely could use some help.
I knew that you can cool it. You can cool it. I knew that. Yeah.
I thought it meant you cannot hyperspace jump because your engines are cooling. I didn't know it was actively cooling and activating.
Yeah. Now see, so like when you escape from the pirates, I remember specifically I like turned everything off and was like, "Hey, power to the engines, cool it, and you feel like you're in Star Trek or something.
Do me.
Okay, you next.
We gotta have the big builder go last.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, which one do you want first?
Do starter, because that's my starter ship.
This man didn't even bother naming his ship.
No, they're actually named. I named them kind of. I didn't name them in this, but my like bespoke unique ships are all like British, so they're like audacious, industrious, daring.
Yeah.
And then my
single adjectives.
My other ones are classes. So I have my I have ideas for classes, but only 2 of them were ever built. I have my Trident frigates and then my Talon cruisers, and then I was going to make Titan battleships, and then I was going to make a gigantic like Avorion level like Tartarus like dreadnought or something. But I never got around to
just the fantasy.
But yeah, so that's my starter ship, pretty small. I use it now as just a mining vessel, and that is a unique. You can do the mule.
Like Darkwave? Wow, it is.
Yeah, this is my my mining ship. It's small and easily mass produced.
Built, yeah,
it looks like a drone. Yeah.
So yeah, I just made it because it was easy design and pretty cheap. So those are just my mining
function
things.
to it.
Yeah.
So you mentioned earlier that you usually tend to send out escorts with your ships.
Yeah. So I have 2 of those mules, and then I have a couple of those frigates.
Ooh,
so this was actually my first like purpose-built ship.
Yeah.
But I eventually just retired it for a better design. But so I had a couple of these floating around.
I like those engines.
Yeah, I like the engines, but
this one was supposed to be like, I actually tried designing like a real like a.
Oh, I wish I could zoom in to see the.
Yeah, I know. Maybe we should have had some sort of 3D thing. Yeah, but it's okay.
But ship with like masts, but it eventually evolved into that. So I would normally send out a mule and then like one of these, or so I had like 2 of those. And then if you go to the carrier is a unique, but if I want to make more of them, I duplicate it.
I feel like Mitchell's like me, you know, he builds balanced ships.
Yeah, I see that.
I like to hide all most of the stuff inside, and then the main is my main cruiser. So I made one, and I just kept on scaling it up to make it like my main ship, and like put all the best shit on it, and then I made 2 others that are my main escorts now.
Interesting.
So I have 3 exact copies of these.
Oh, okay, cool.
I get some Star Wars vibes here, Mitchell.
Yeah, I get the. This one actually looks like it's in the Captain Falcon game.
This one's actually based off
the Captain Falcon game.
Yeah. I'm sorry, I forgot. Okay.
But yeah, I based this off of a Lego I built like custom when
cute.
I was like 10. So I was like, I want to remake it. So
actually, Terry and I were talking
bro.
about it earlier. Also, how he made a battle cruiser from StarCraft.
yeah,
You
yeah,
subconsciously, you know, you really build the ships that you were influenced by in sci-fi pop culture.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Unless you're
eventually
dumb
modeled the
like
thing
me
into
and
the
just
battle
want to make
cruisers that ended up
birds.
as the Hello World design.
I mean, sure.
I was planning on building the Protoss carrier as an actual like carrier with
That's tough.
interceptors,
Oh,
but then
that's
I
so
realized
curvy.
that the
Yeah.
fighters kind of suck.
Yeah.
For me, I had a lot of influence from Halo.
Ooh, Jeffrey has a lot. Ooh, okay. Where
You
you
can
want
just
to start,
pick by the
Jeffrey?
name which one you think
Light of
sounds interesting.
Tomorrow?
So this is my 300
Ooh,
kiloton big
nice.
boy. He does everything except.
Oh, you got the curves.
Yeah, that's
Wait,
the
you can
circle
curve
I
the
dreaded
engines?
building. I needed circular engines.
Oh.
All right, now that's why he spent so long
Yeah,
building
I see
shit.
it,
Like,
bro.
Yeah, I can see it.
that
Oh wait,
takes
go back.
time.
I want to give some proper attribution here. I stole these
Yeah,
engines,
okay,
by the way.
Oh, okay,
'Cause I
trademark,
was
trademark,
I needed to learn how to make circles. Yeah. Anwin
That's sick.
Skies, I believe his capital ship, the Gwyn, uses these. I changed.
Okay.
I reverse engineered it.
Yeah, that's cool though.
Yeah,
No,
I
that's
think
sick.
Jeff's probably the only one who actually went to the workshop to deal.
That's
Components.
true.
Yeah, those are turret bases right there and built into the. I also tend to build my ships. I like to keep it somewhat realistic. I realize that building it realistically though, that's a different ship. Yeah,
Yeah.
building it realistically though, if you go back to the first image of that ship, it's like all armor. Almost all my combat ships are, well, they're all armor because that's how it would be. The crew quarters
Right,
are
yeah.
obviously inside.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah,
not
same.
next to the engines. You know, no, no
sky
exposure
views?
to
No
to the
sky
window
views?
where you could get hit by a laser and immediately sucked out.
That's what the integrity field generator and shields are for. You
Yeah.
know?
No, mine's is like Jeffrey's. Like everything outside is like valuable is
Yeah.
covered in armor at least.
Mine's was eventually turned to everything that was covered in armor. Like that's why most
Yeah.
of the battle cruiser was black, because the black color I saved for armor. But it used to be I would just leave things free hanging, and
I
then
mean, this one was
Guarding-
quite a bit free hanging, wasn't there on yours?
no, some of it was still free hanging, but those were like tucked inside. Like most of the outer, like everything on the nose of the battle cruiser was covered in armor. Because at some
Ooh,
point, I think
you
the
have to
entire
leave
front half of my ship got disconnected. Because I think the pirates had shot out the hole.
This is my cargo ship.
Yeah,
It has armored segments on it on each.
Ooh, I dig that.
bay.
Ooh, that gives me Star Wars vibes. Like the yeah.
And the crew quarters are on that little tower. It's
Yeah.
not a combat
yeah, I
ship,
like that.
and they get a nice
Nice. Like
a
view.
bridge.
Okay, you know, this
Yeah.
is purely for
Very
hauling cargo.
realistic.
I wish I got the time to paint. I didn't really.
Yeah, I
find
never
time to
painted
paint.
either.
Painting adds
But-
actually a lot. Yeah,
yeah,
and then the armor
adds a
plating
lot.
are is the little triangles there. I really like that feature. How they're scaled.
Mhm.
They
Yeah.
look
Oh,
like
yeah.
scales. Yeah.
Yeah, this one's cool.
Sounds nice.
I named all
Yeah,
my
the painting's
cargo
good.
ships after shipping labels. I got that from Halo.
Ooh, that looked like a gun.
Okay, this one,
bro.
this one's definitely a Halo
This
one.
is my this is my floating turret platform. I literally really ripped off Halo MACs Max magnetic accelerator cannons, where the entire ship is built around a cannon.
I see the hours.
Yeah, that's cool though.
That bottom section, by the way, is all gyro arrays.
Oh, this is the.
This is the down the mob. You see the.
Is this the ship that you were talking about that has super maneuverability despite being huge?
No, that was the Steam Workshop one. This is a
one's
salvage
cool.
ship.
Right.
You see those steel
that
chains
was
on the
cool.
front? It took me like
Yeah.
2 hours to figure out how to do
that's
those.
nice.
That's a nice touch. I
Yeah,
didn't
that's a
even know
cool
you
one,
could
though.
do that.
Yeah, you have to go down to the
Yeah.
small scale for that though.
You took the time to round the edges, you know.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
And
A
paint.
lot of gyro arrays hidden in those side. This is supposed to be a modular
Mm.
ship as well, so that's why things look very Well, if you
Like
go
cut and
back to
pasty
the
almost.
if you
Segmented.
go back to the overview, like that's why you have the little floating engine platforms on the left and right, and then you have 3 segments, so you can always expand those forward if you need to.
The head cannon, I see.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see it. Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
Which one's this one?
This is my escort ship. Pretty simple.
That one looks cool.
Like a
This is
small-
I was talking about the asymmetry that day, you know? This is the asymmetry.
Yeah. I like it. I like me some asymmetry.
Yeah, and then I got the nice, scaled armor plating again. This is my miner ship. I want to go for a very, I don't know,
Yeah.
brutal look, so I made it a hammer.
Yeah. Utilitarian.
Yeah. Oh, those
The yellow things on the outside is cool.
Yeah. Okay. So go back.
Wait, I
So-
see it. It overlaps the block.
No,
Yeah.
no, not only okay. So I couldn't figure out where to put cargo on this miner because at a certain point when you get those raw miners, it's much better to have those, and I want to have at least 1,000 cargo. So I did in my head canon. Holy shit, this is so jank. If you go to the last image of this ship's name series, you'll see immediately. Next one, yeah, that's the cargo. A shot of the cargo. This was the original design for this ship. It was a regular. It looks like a hammer, right? This ship, the first. I always named the.
Oh yeah.
So it depends on the kind of ship. This one's the minor ships have more serious names. This one was called Vulcan's Hammer. If you go back, yeah, I didn't know where to put the cargo, so I just slapped a giant butt on it.
Nice.
It is no longer a hammer though, sadly. And then I added the yellow to make it look like it's duct taped together.
I will say having modularization in mind really helps.
Yeah,
I guess the biggest problem I was facing towards the end of my time playing with my battlecruiser was like I was literally running out of space to like put stuff.
That's why what I would do is if I just wanted to make it bigger, I would just use the slider and just make it bigger
a little bit,
because that way everything like works. Like you don't have to slap on more.
No, I didn't like that because when I got the Lady Adventure and saw that its scaling was really weird, like some of the blocks were like had lengths to the precision of like 3 or 4 decimal places. I was like, no, I don't want any of that.
Yeah, so slide is much better when you work in a single scale step. It becomes hell as soon as you step outside of it.
Because all of my, I think my battle cruiser has the minimum scale is like 0.25.
Yeah, that's what I keep for most of my ships. The giant railgun heavy cruiser I made, that one I think I went to scale step 0.1 for one part, and everything went to hell because suddenly everything around it needed to be some mixture that matched 0.25 and 0.1.
Don't snap no more.
Yeah.
Okay, I guess we should talk about the builder a little bit because
builders. Okay, so it felt like
to be fair to them, they were building a 3D software into their game. Very hard to do, but if you've worked with a 3D software, like I don't know if any Terry has for sure. Like when I spent a good amount of time in Blender, like I do a lot of that. It just makes me like. It's a little frustrating when you're building. You're like, oh man.
There are a lot of little frustrations. Yeah, especially I've worked a lot in, not a lot. I worked like a quarter in university in Maya.
But like it just makes you, because you want things and you realize this doesn't have those things, and you have to like do so many like deletions and then like I mean, overall
one of the biggest quality of life things that they didn't have was that you can't, in order to move chunks of your ship, you literally just have to select everything, delete it, and then paste it back on afterwards.
Because of how the snapping system works, you can't have free floating blocks. They all have to be tied to the ship. So what I would do is you would have to select them, delete it, copy paste it, put it on another part of the ship, like just randomly, so that you could like access it later when you needed it.
And also when you're putting blocks on, it like auto centers it to like the face, whatever face kind of thing. Like the mouse is always the center of the face of the block that you're trying to attach.
Yeah, so you can like move it around.
So you couldn't like put a block and have it like hang off to the right if you're pinning it from like the front.
You
have to put like a support block, put the thing in, and then delete the support block.
I want to say though, there's a lot of good features like mirroring on the X, Y, and Z plane, being able to choose where the mirror source is. But it's like clear there's a lot of effort put in to make it better.
Well, it's like it's hard to expect them to make a 3D modeling software. Like it's on top of their entire game. So
like a lot of the major features are all there as you would want. There's some very good extra features like the mirroring. But there's just sometimes it's just small things and you're just tired. Like that regarding the circle, again, I hated building that circle. Like I that's why I literally went to the workshop and copied someone else, because I didn't want to spend hours fighting the builder, working with really awkward scale steps to build what looked like a good circle to me. So it's like the small things wear on you, you know. I appreciate the effort they put in for a lot of the major features, of course.
Yeah, like it definitely had like good features, like the ability to filter by block type. So, which is like the easiest use case is like when I got to the yellow tier, I forget the element names. when I got to the yellow tier, it was easy for me to just go filter by energy containers, Control A, change all selected blocks to the upgraded energy container.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, like there's some nice things, like a visibility, as you mentioned. You can see only certain blocks. You can select all blocks, for example. But yeah.
Yeah, and then also things like it lets you just upgrade your entirety of the ship to the next tier of elements if that particular part is available in the next tier.
Yeah,
they definitely had some things that would have. They definitely covered the things that would have made you go, "I can't play this game." Like I have gripes about it, but I was able to play the game. But like if they didn't have certain things in it, I definitely would have been like, okay, I guess I'm just making a Minecraft dirt hut.
Yeah, make a square.
I have to say that they clearly the most enjoyment in the game was the building, and they put clearly the most effort into it. Like the placement of your thrusters on your ship away from your center of gravity affects how effective those thrusters are. Cool. For example, the physics simulation was. I said earlier that certain things don't matter, like engine placement does not affect burning anything behind it, but certain things also do matter. Which it's like a really they wrote a really good line of letting you do what you want while still making your choices matter. Like they ignore the things that might annoy people like a lot.
But it's also in that case, it's now I think about it, it's weird that they made the position of thrusters away from the center of mass matter when like that matters for all the rotational maneuverability of the ship, which is also solved by just having gyro arrays.
I think that's a concession though. Again, like there's a lot of things in the game. It's like it has the hallmarks of a good game in that it's at least for a shallow but wide game where you recognize that like everyone has something they enjoy in the game, but not everything. So they've gone to very, very far lengths to make it easy for you to avoid aspects you don't like. I don't want to, for example, for me, if you look at like most of my ships, there's a butt ton of gyro arrays hidden in there because I do like to build balanced looking ships, but I'm not a huge simulationist, I'm not that hardcore about it. So at the end of the day, if I just want to make it work well, I just slap in 50 tons of gyro arrays and ignore the fact that my ship does not have thrusters.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, because I remember talking to Kevin about the original design for the battlecruiser before it became the battlecruiser. That's what it originally looked like when I was first building and had it on just titanium tier.
And you are very much you really slapped that thing together.
That's funny.
It was very slapdash, and the giant bulb at the top, that was a giant cargo bay.
Oh.
That I then just put thrusters all over.
A lot of thrusters on here.
Yeah, a lot. Now I see why you like gyro arrays so much.
Well, yeah, because at that stage, the ship was lined up where those thrusters actually mattered. Because once you have access to gyro arrays, or like have ready access to the energy necessary to power gyro arrays, the main purpose of thrusters is just for strafing. But like I mentioned earlier when we were reviewing the other ships, at a certain point, if your ships get massive enough, thrusters stop really doing anything because they don't have the same power that engines do.
They do a little bit. A clever trick from that engine builder, or the guy who I copied the engine off of, he hid thrusters in the sides of those circles. I cheated in my capital ship. In the middle of that armor are engines to make it faster.
Oh.
Yeah, like it's hidden though.
That's what I was like. I kind of thought, but I also had that aesthetic thing for some reason, especially with thrusters. I didn't mind putting things behind engines because I just thought it was funny. But for thrusters, I always kept the thruster holes open.
I could not do that.
You put engines behind things because you think it's funny. I put it behind things because I think it works better. We are not the same.
Yeah. Like if you go look at the Hello World battlecruisers, I have like 3 tiers of engines.
There's a lot of love put into the shipbuilding. It's clearly if you enjoy at all that kind of thing, this is the best part.
I thought like I wasn't going to, but then I did like it.
Yeah, they make it very accessible. Yeah.
If you don't really like it, they have you can always download from the Steam Workshop, or you can also like just buy like the prefab ships they have in the game. Like, and it's not just like random prefab ships, they actually organize it into different tiers. like into the different categories like mining ships, freighters, explorers, which is how I got the idea to do the cube modular cube designs for the SS Cargo.
Yeah.
Was I saw the prefab for the freighter, and it was just a bunch of cubes, and I was like, what if I just that? What if I just made a bunch of cubes and just slapped them together and called it a ship?
No, that they definitely do the thing like Jeffrey's saying, where you can circumvent a lot of the things you don't want to do. Like if you just want to fly ships, you don't want to build it, you can just go download some.
It's probably the strongest aspect of the game, I'd say, is that you can just do what you want, which is great, obviously, for a sandbox. It's a good sandbox.
Yeah,
it's a good sandbox foundation, but the actual like gameplay tasks within are pretty
yeah,
they're pretty they're pretty simple, point A to point B kind of things. Yeah, there's not really much nuance.
Like the first 4 or 5 hours, like I mainly spent it. I mined for a little bit, and then I just ran like cargo missions, or I ran like the transport vessel missions were like the easiest.
I love those.
And you made
those are
so
the best
much
ones.
money. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I just kept doing missions going around until you have like enough capital to like pay a captain and like, buy more ships. Yeah.
I will say, the mission design was pretty bad.
But again, I think it's a good foundation. What they need now is, like we said, the 2.0 only came out a few months ago. If they add a lot of, they can add a lot of diversity.
Which they might have with the DLC, which is brings up one of the complaints I had was they did the thing that some games do where like they have the mission available thing, but then you click in and then you realize it's like you require the DLC in order to accept this mission, kind of a deal.
I think it is different colored though. I think
it's
the purple one.
It's purple instead of green, I think.
Yeah, but the first time I didn't know that, and then I clicked. I was like, oh, you need the DLC. You need the black market DLC in order to. I'm like, oh.
Yeah. I was okay with it. It didn't come up often, but I can see like if it was, it's not like every 30 minutes of gameplay you're hit with an ad and it's like, hey, you need to, buy this.
Yeah.
It came up probably like every few hours or so, and I could always just pick another mission, but yeah. But I can definitely see like if you have low tolerance for that.
I feel like the strongest suits of this game are for people who like automation and people that like building. I think that's probably the two aspects that are the strongest.
I don't know if I agree with that. Actually, the automation is kind of weak in this game.
Really? I felt like it was.
I like how many tasks you do.
How many things?
Again, it's a shallow but wide thing. There's a lot of tasks you can do, but the actual automation is extremely simple and extremely one track, which is that all you need to do is make sure, because to be fair, in the 1.0 version of the game I read up on, this is not true. When you did automation, it actually simulated the ship carrying out the task in game. Obviously, that's really taxing on your computer's resources because you go from having to play one ship in a session to having like simulate 11 ships at once, each one with AI. The thing is, in 2.0, because of that limitation on CPU resources, they just did a simple check on like efficiency, for example, of like how efficient your mining lasers are, and they just do like an algorithm to determine how much
RNG,
return you get,
attack rate. Yeah.
So from an automation standpoint, for example, the AI handles better in certain ways depending on how you build the ship, and there's a lot of optimization gameplay that people would enjoy there, right? And optimizing your ship design. But I could literally make a box in 2.0, put on 50 mining lasers, and it would be just as good as like a properly designed ship with good pitch, roll, yaw.
Right, yeah.
I didn't realize that made no difference.
Yeah, no, it does. It literally is just the efficiency.
It's just a stat stick.
And it's not only that, it's that you tell it to do an order, and that's all it does. It does the order until either one of two things happens. It completes the order, or it gets ambushed and it needs help. Which is pretty similar to most of the rest of the mission design in the game, to be honest, though, which is that you just go to a place and you complete the objective in the same way every time.
I guess because, you guys had a bunch of ships. Do your ships ever get ambushed?
Yeah.
A few times. I built escorts, though, for that reason.
I usually build escorts to not have that happen.
Yeah, I think
a couple times I went hard. And then I had to like quick switch to them and like fly away because I would never give them any like sort of good stuff because I was cheap, like the mule, right? The mule isn't meant for combat or anything, so
I would put guns on them if I had the dual class captains and they had a relevant combat class. I would put guns on them. But,
I think I always ran stuff to like only maximum like 10% risk, and I don't think in my time, because I also only have 2 other automated ships, so my chances of running into it are less because I just have run less tasks. I don't think I ever ran into getting ambushed.
It's probably, I feel like it's not as high as advertised, but also yeah, normally I'm just running an escort, so it's like 3% anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because the most I got were like 10% if my cargo ships were carrying like expensive stuff.
Yeah.
But I think because my mining ship also had a bunch of guns, like even in
right, yeah.
I skipped. Well, it's because also that faction that I became very diplomatic and formed my first alliance with, like 20 hours in, because they were in the blue the area with Trinium. I was able to just immediately, my mining vessel and my trading vessel stayed in the starting territory for a long time because my relationship with the main faction in the nanite tier area was bad, and so they would always read that as there are a lot of enemies in the area.
What was that? I always thought it was just pirates who did that, but I actually don't know.
I don't know either. They just read that as a higher risk, so I would just leave them in the beginning area.
Oh yeah, me too.
Until I got to the Trinium tier and then befriended that one alliance who had the giant span, and then I immediately brought both ships over to start working that, and then now that I formed an alliance with them, like their risks are always down to like 3 to 5%.
Yeah,
everything.
That's
well, also because you arm yours though. Like my mules, if I send them anywhere by themselves, like they'll have like 80% because they're too weak.
Yeah.
Yeah, I arm mine to the teeth.
Yeah, exactly.
Generalist versus specialist.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, I have these subsystems for turrets, for arbitrary turret slots. I might as well slap these on because I don't have any civil turret slots at the moment. Civil turret subsystems.
I got a bad case of gamer hoarder. I have like probably like 100 subsystems that I just haven't used.
Why?
Well, they just give you a lot too.
You can just break them down at research stations though.
Yeah. Also, it's kind of time consuming because
that's another aspect of the game. If you don't like inventory management, avoid this game. There's a lot of inventory management.
Yeah.
If you're a hoarder.
Well, I mean, technically, you don't have to manage. It's just a lot of reading, because like you have basically infinite inventory almost. Right?
You can technically, especially if you only have a couple ships, you can just
have to read to see which items you want to equip on your ship and stuff. And
oh no, I mean, I just ignore it if it isn't a certain color. That's just how it is.
Yeah, that's what you can do too.
Yeah.
Only use.
But like, what do you mean by management then? I feel like there isn't. Like, do you mean ship management?
Breaking like down the turrets or fusing them up?
I just never broke them down. I did what Mitchell did. I was like,
so you're free to ignore it, but your inventory becomes very cluttered. So if you care,
I would sell off. I would just sell them to the equipment docks. That's how I initially made a lot of my money. Was
selling them is also a form of management, though. Like, that's just
there's a lot of management. But like turrets, especially the subsystems, I'm like, I know I'm never equipping like these 5 types of subsystems, so I just sell all of them.
Yeah, but did you ever make purple versions of them, for example? Like just one?
No, because they were effects that I knew I would never want to put a subsystem. Like I would never want to use a subsystem slot for.
My hoarder mentality does not understand this. This is lost.
Your hoarder mentality tried to refine shit. I just literally just never touched that part of the game.
I would have. I'm
never gonna use this scanner booster, but it's here.
At least make a purple of every.
Yeah, no. For me, it was like the scanner reach subsystems. I'd be like, I have one equipped on my main ship, and I don't need it for any of the other ship, and I like the one I have, and I just sell off all the other ones.
My mentality was literally inventory management. That's for poor people. I just would go between equipment docks and buy things that I wanted.
Not for poor people. No. It's for clean people. If you care about having an orderly inventory, you have to manage it.
I didn't.
No.
I would.
You're just a slob.
No, I would just occasionally go equipment docks and sell stuff to clean inventory. That's about it.
Because the research was so much effort and usually for not much. Like especially when you're like past iron tier.
Did you know
you have a bunch of iron turrets?
If you right click it in the research screen, you don't have to drag it. It just
if you right click it auto populates the thing.
Doesn't make it that much better. I have so much.
It a fair bit faster. Honestly.
Yeah.
This is again tied to the UI thing. They don't tell you that. Like I was like, there's no way I'm dragging it up. If I had to drag up every single one, I would have not done it. But then I found out I could right click it on accident. And I was like, okay.
No, when we were building and you told me you can alt click to replace, I was like, whoa,
replace the material.
That's great.
To be fair, that is in the F1 building commands.
I know.
For a lot of people,
it is also
especially
in,
people like you who don't
it is
read.
also in the list.
Hey, I did read them, Mister. I didn't know you could mirror for my first 30 hours.
I'm just saying.
Well, the alt click thing is also in like the little bar right above the thing. It says like alt to replace. And I could never. I
just
can't.
Skimmed it.
Even right now, I can't tell the difference between shift and control. Shift and control do the same thing.
They're just. This is a really complex game in the terms of there's a lot of moving parts that you can touch and click on. So
in the I was saying like in the builder thing, like do you guys know the difference between shift and control for the builder?
Yeah, isn't shift like where it matches and hits the max block?
Yeah.
The shifts is where it matches the side, and then the control, I couldn't tell the difference. It did the exact same thing for me.
I didn't even know control was a button.
Yeah, it was. It does pretty much the same thing. It like matches.
I only use shift to match.
I only use shift.
You guys don't read.
I use control like middle to select multiple blocks, like you would like
so did I.
File Explorer.
That's the same. Like that's what I was wondering if you guys knew the difference because they both have the functionally the same thing.
The answer is no.
But it's like listed as different functions.
Yeah.
Sure, if you're a pro, it matters. But
yeah.
Yeah, I definitely got better with the. It's like using Photoshop. You learn all the shortcuts and you get faster and better at it. But and you learn how to abuse the builder in a way that forces it to do what you want it to do.
Yeah.
I also love.
We can see everyone's starter ship compared to their like marquee ship. Like everyone made something better.
Yeah.
So.
I also loved how it was G for Glock for some reason. The block shortcut.
Oh yeah,
was literally G. Instead of B.
You see, I'm a plebe. I just clicked everything.
No, I would click stuff, but then sometimes I'd be like, why am I in color? Because it's C for color, G for block, and T for turret.
I didn't even touch the keyboard. I was just clicking.
Actually, on a slight aside for the building, managing your turrets on all of your ships was such a pain.
Oh yeah,
like you had to outfit all of your ships, and I get it, but I'm like, oh man, when I hit the 11 or 12, I'm like, dude, I can keep building ships, but like I really don't want to outfit one.
It reminds me of like an old school RPG where there's way too much loot. 80% of it doesn't matter. And you have to sift through the garbage to figure out what's better than what's currently equipped. That's why this is part of inventory management as well. Like it is very reminiscent of an old school RPG. At least in this game, you don't just drop the items. You can salvage them. You can sell. Well, I guess you could sell them in most old RPGs, but you can research them up the tier. That's a nice.
And there's filters.
Yeah, there's filters for like DPS or things like that, or type. The filters help a lot, but
the filters.
It's still lacking. Nice. It's like the shipbuilding. A lot of the features are nice.
Yeah.
But it's still lacking.
I wouldn't know you're paying, Kevin. I only outfit like one ship.
Dude, it literally is such a pain.
My other two ships, I would like update them if they were like their risk things start getting high. I'm like, oh, I should probably equip better guns. Let me go through and like update their guns.
Another problem that started to come up for me with multiple ships was the automation is, again, it's not very great in that you tell them to execute a command and they'll go do it for like hours or like 15 minutes depending on the command, right?
Yeah.
And it's just becomes very tiresome if you do short orders to continuously issue commands. It's not really automation at that point. It's micromanagement.
I actually at a certain point only did like 5-hour orders.
Yeah, I probably would have started.
The trading command only lasts for like 20 minutes usually.
No, that's because you're going for the most efficient ones. If you go for like the kind of whatever ones, obviously the money is less. I'm pretty sure it's an intentional trade-off. Which is actually kind of a bad thing. It feels like you're punishing me for automating.
I think it just depends on the good too. Some goods.
Yeah, it depends on the good.
Trading is I feel like a very complex algorithm in there.
No.
Like,
In
Yeah.
my experience, the most profitable trades were single flights, and the
Well, yeah,
least
That's
profitable
because
ones would be multiple flights. And they
they're the
would take
least quantity of those goods
Yeah.
usually, and they weigh
because they're
less.
expensive goods.
The expensive goods are obviously
They weigh
probably
less.
less space, yeah.
Yeah.
But it ends up being that, you know, like you have to
Yeah.
it continuously issue commands if you want to feel like you're efficiently using your merchant vessels. Which is
That was the one I did automate the least though, and that's why I only actually had like one merchant vessel. I had like 6 miners, 3 fighters, 2 explorers.
Yeah, because miners you
can
just tell them to mine for 8 hours.
Yeah, exactly. And you just sell it. Actually, did you do expeditions? Expeditions were kind of cool.
I did.
Was almost like, the RP was almost more fun for me than actually playing the game. I was like, oh, expedition. He gives me notes. He's like, oh yeah, these pirates try to attack us, but like.
Oh, when you tell them to explore and stuff.
Yeah, the expedition notes were kind of fun.
I would have if I got a Daredevil or a Commodore Captain that I didn't use.
You didn't have Daredevils? Oh.
No, I did, but they were like minor Daredevils or minor Commodores. They were not. The way the captain system works too, how it rolls on each station, because there's far more mine buildings than any other building type. You get far more minor tier 3s than any other type of captain. So. Yeah. Again, at that point in the game, I was already purpose building ships. If I didn't hit that Commodore, I wasn't building an expedition ship, for example.
Yeah, so sounds like no one really got too much of the story then, right? Like,
I mean, to be honest with you,
like towards the end,
the story is extremely bare bones and it is literally there just to have a story.
Yeah. At least for me, it was one of those things where, especially towards the last couple of hours of my playtime, the original 4 to 5 hour thing started creeping up, where I'd only play for like half an hour, an hour, and then I'd stop and I'd go play something else, just because I started getting bored again.
Yeah, I agree. Like, if you don't find something you really like in the game, it can get boring, and especially without like the story to, like, because you kind of hit that rut in the story, right, with the thing.
It's just the game gets samey in multiple aspects. Yeah. The mission gets samey. The automation is samey.
Nothing new anymore.
The progression is samey. Again, the simplicity is a strength, but it's also a con because it's the same thing every time. I find building knowledge so I can build more complex ships, and I get to go to the next tier of material. And that's just generally speaking. Well, the nice thing is they will give you new blocks for each tier, for example, like 1 or 2.
That's true.
So that's new functionality. Yeah. Like you only start getting the hyperspace one when you hit blue, I think.
Right? Yeah, blue. Trinium's where you first start unlock the hyperspace core.
Yeah. So increasing your hyperspace, for example, through a block is only at blue or higher. But I'm just not very excited. I wasn't very excited for progression.
For me, I was excited about the aspect of getting more ships until I hit that point I just talked about, where I was like, bro, I don't want to outfit these ships. There's too many. And then at that point, I kind of started dwindling down because I was like, oh, gotta hit the next tier, gotta keep building more ships. And now I was like, oh, it feels like work.
I would say the weak point is the micromanagement. There's not much, again, in the way of automation.
That's fair. I think so.
I'll also say,
but I think that the
progression gets weird. For example, the yellow engine is actually weaker than the Trinium engine.
Why?
I don't know. I replaced one of my larger ones, and my acceleration actually went down.
Is it because it's heavier?
I don't know. I think so. I think Trinium's
heavier. There's a lot of hidden stats. Like they always say, like titanium is like the lightest.
Yeah, titanium's one of the lightest.
For example, now the green one just above titanium can't be used to make armor
because it's so heavy.
None of them above
light.
No, Trinium. You can make Trinium armor.
Trinium can? Oh.
Yeah. And Trinium, I think, is lighter than.
It's nice to have those nuances, I think. Yeah. But it's really strange to have, just a straight up higher tier material be worse. At that point, you might as well just say you can't make engines out of this material, right?
Yeah.
But if you want yellow engines,
the color.
It's also interesting that
they the engine VFX. I know.
It's also interesting that it's like they're like, oh, by the way, we're keeping the braking block stuck at iron, to give iron a purpose once you travel beyond the beginning sector. The inertia dampeners only exist in iron tier.
I literally never
exist
put one
in
on.
Avorion, I think.
Avorion has inertia dampener.
Yeah. I'm sure Avorion has
because I built in a creative world. Yeah.
But
wait, Mitchell, you never put inertia dampeners on your ship?
He used thrusters.
I got
Maybe
real
that's
good
why he liked.
at
Maybe that's why he liked
snagging
thrusters so much.
the tractor beam.
Dude, my explorer ship zoomed. I like remember I would fly so fast. I was like, oh, that was one of the coolest part when I built that ship and building ships.
Yeah.
But yeah, I remember that. And then you drift by and you try to hit that tractor beam, but then you talk to the space station instead of getting the tractor beam. You're like, damn it.
Yeah. Or you smack into it and you lose a million reputation. Yeah.
I've done that a bunch.
Yeah.
I think I've
My
gone
favorite
full speed
moment
into
in
a
the
bunch of
game,
shipyards.
and this is representative of the sandbox and sort of emerging gameplay, I suppose, which is that I saved the ship from being destroyed. It was one of those random events, right? Where they asked for your help. And it had like 3 health left. And my capital ship had okay, like at the time it was poor because I forgot what material I needed. I didn't have it yet anyways. It was like iron, right? And it was really heavy. So the turning was poor, but if it was titanium it would have been very good. Or it would have been much better. And I accidentally crashed into it and it instantly died. And then my relations went down by like 40,000 for vehicular manslaughter. You know? Which I think is a little unfair. So I paid 2 million credits and it was all good. That's the cost of a vehicular manslaughter in space. 2 million credits.
Yeah,
so I had a slightly similar thing where I found a space wreckage, and then they were like, oh, could you like call people to come get our ship? And it was like they were dead and they wanted like their message sent home to someone. And I was like, okay, but I was like, I'm gonna salvage this ship though. And I salvaged it and then I failed the quest, and I was like, oh.
Yeah, because you destroyed the flight recorder. I did the same thing.
Yeah, I destroyed the flight recorder. And I was like, damn it.
I'm gonna be honest, halfway through I was like, this is probably gonna fail the mission, right? Because well, then I also thought, but I already have the message, right? Like,
yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah, so I was like, okay, I'll give them the message, but you don't need your ship no more. I thought it was
probably okay, and then I failed. And I was like, oh, I'm not surprised. You did the same thing. Yeah,
that's funny.
I'm not surprised, but I mean, the mission rewards are honestly poor compared to the automations. So I was okay with
yeah, that was a thing too. Missions, like once you got enough ships, like nothing. Maybe it did, but nothing beat the value of just running your ships and letting them do stuff.
Some of like the illegal goods resource shortage missions gave you like 2 mil, like 1.6 to 2 mil. But those were the resource shortage missions, which are like really annoying to do if you're not like super invested into trading, like manual trading.
Oh, I wish you could filter the map so bad.
Yeah, I will
you can note it,
that,
which is kind of cool.
Yeah, you note it, but
there is a trade. There's a part of a whole section of the game we didn't touch, which I don't think any of us touched. The economy part, right, regarding the
creating substations
and stations, founding stations.
Okay, I did found a station actually,
okay.
but they're very expensive. But what I did, so I got the most basic one, which is a solar power plant. It needs no input, but it creates energy cells. So I just picked a place where like there were a bunch of factories that needed energy cells and plopped it down. It actually makes pretty good money.
My understanding is that it's very profitable. So I probably would have done it
take
myself
a while
if I had more time. But I was too.
Yeah, I think it's all like if you accidentally build enough stations in a region, you take over the region.
It's one of the tips.
There is a nice part of the game. Yeah, that's part of the sandbox as well, but also just how supply and demand matters. So building like a relevant station in a high demand location, really, So again, I probably would have enjoyed that gameplay somewhat if I got into it.
Yeah, it's cool. There's always more mechanics to do. But,
it's a new type of mechanic I didn't touch, but I'm fairly certain if I did, it would have been also pretty one track.
Yeah, no, it's a little deeper, I think, than some, but not.
Yeah, it's a little more involved for sure because you had to do like a little in-game research, quote unquote.
Right.
Yeah.
So what was everyone's, since there wasn't too much other story, what was everyone's like emergent story highlight? I think we got your two maybe. But
you got mine.
Mine was, I mentioned earlier, was choking my crew trying to get back to the shipyard.
Yeah, I think mine was either like I was doing one of those like transfer missions, but I was lazy, so I didn't put anything on the ship, right?
I
got attacked by pirates, and so like my big ship was there fighting, and I was just ducking and weaving, trying to dodge torpedoes until the thing filled up, and I got away. That was really cool. And then the other one was I was doing like 3 or 4 bounty hunter missions in a row, and like I got to one, and they actually popped up a little thing. They're like, they like ship name. I recognize that ship name. You killed our buddies, and like even though that's probably all pre-scripted, I thought it was really cool. It's like, yeah, I did kill a bunch of you, and like I'm famous in the galaxy now.
I will say that like the story, I remember there was one part in the main story where I was kind of, it was not good. It was really cliche, and I was like kind of cringing at it. It was like,
yeah,
I think I felt similar. I
yeah,
don't know
like,
what part though.
The difference, I think, with this, it's interesting because I think they put in the main story to guide new players because again, the game is understandably very confusing.
right.
There's a lot of mechanics, right? Like, well, there's a lot of different kinds of mechanics, right, going on, especially with shipbuilding. So they do need like a tutorial dude at the start. But then they kind of push you down like an actual like main story thing, and I guess it's to push you. I wish almost they did more of like a Factorio or RimWorld thing where it was very open ended, where it was just, hey, you're like on this place now, right? And you can like get out, and that's it. The how you get there is all up to you. There's no like quests you have to do along the way, right? But they chose to do, you know, a fixed sort of path, like, oh, there's the barrier, it's mysterious. Maybe it would have been better if they just let you go. And then there was just, as you talk to NPCs, they'd be like, "Oh, we heard about this mysterious barrier," you know, like, and then that makes you want to explore it, right? Like naturally, there's no main story like pushing you to do this and having to interact with a fixed NPC, for example. And
I'm sure it's because we also were kind of forced to play the game, which is great for this. But then I'm sure there's probably a big audience audience that is like, I have no idea what to even do to start.
Yeah.
You have to start to have a tutorial, dude, but you don't have to, you know, make it a full blown story quest. Yeah, you can just make it natural. Like,
because
like,
naturally
like I said, if you talk to NPCs,
center,
for example, as you get closer to the center, they start talking about the mysterious barrier or something. For example, right?
And the materials get better towards the center, so naturally you
sure
gravitate
the tutorial dude
that way.
mentioned that even in passing.
But
then you don't need to, like, the building knowledge thing also seems like an artificial gate. For example, like, oh, you just can't build ships this big until you get more knowledge. There's many ways to get it, to be fair, but yeah, it all like feels like it's pushing. For example, the galaxy map is a nice big square, and you start in like a somewhat corner of it, I assume, in every proc jungler playthrough.
Yep.
But there's no reason to go in many of the directions.
The other side or something,
Why do that? There's so much of this map with sandbox emergent gameplay that gets ignored because the ultimate goal is to beeline to the center. Do you know? And like,
I specifically remember I had a wormhole that took me all the way across, and I was like, "This is cool." And I explored it a little. I was like, "Wait, why am I?"
It's exactly
here?
the same.
I was like, "Why am I here? I should just go back and go towards the center." I was like, "Yeah."
I wonder how big the game. Well, I had a couple things now. I wondered how big the game file would be if you actually explored the entirety of the map.
Probably huge.
Yeah.
Also, on the adventure, I remember when he gave me the torpedo. Yeah, or whatever his name is. I think his name is actually also generated.
It's generated.
Okitoshi?
I
have Okitoshi.
Mine was like Urso or something.
Oh, okay.
But when he gave me the torpedo tutorial, I'd accidentally forgotten that I locked onto him to talk, and I'd forgotten to lock onto the wreckage. And so my first volley of torpedoes shot him. But he didn't actually get angry. He's like, "Oh, you failed. Here's another set of torpedoes for you to try again."
He's also immune, by the way.
And then my bigger question was on the topic of Kevin saying we were forced to play. If we weren't forced to play, and let's say we weren't even the ones who bought the game, like ourselves, let's say we each gifted each other the game, right? So the game was more or less like not monetarily on us. Like, we don't feel monetarily obligated to play. Would you guys have actually stuck through and played for as long as you did? Because for me, I think that answer would be no. I think I would have stopped at around the first hour or two. Just because I was like, the only reason why I stuck through is because I was forced to play. Like I said, like an hour ago at this point, like I played in like 15-20 minute bursts, and then I go play something else because I think at the same time we were starting this, I think the new set of TFT had just come out. Like the new set of TFT had just come out. I kind of want to play some StarCraft. kind of thing.
Yeah,
like, I had other games I'd rather be playing than Avorion until about like the 6 or 7 hour mark, and then all was fine. But I don't think I would have stuck around to actually get to the 6 or 7 hour mark if we weren't forced to play the game.
I lean towards you. I think around that hour mark, I was definitely addicted. Like it got me to like all my hours were between like in like 2 weeks ago between like 6 and like 40, or like in like a week or like a few days. Like I was just
MMO
playing
addiction kind of thing. Where
I definitely got it, and then like it kind of plateaus once you kind of start learning the systems.
I think you just realize there's not much to do. And it's much of
but I think
to be fair, maybe
I don't know if I would have made it.
Barrier,
Yeah, it could. Yeah.
But
yeah,
it'd be weird for it to change a lot past the barrier. The end game.
Yeah. I don't know. I think I might have stopped too, but I do think I might have continued because I remember I was a little mad when I got wrecked by the pirates. Like that like I need to get to a certain level at least.
Like you can start seeing the potential at like 3 to 4 hours, but it doesn't get fun until like 5 or 6. Like you get your captain like 4ish, and like you start getting on the treadmill, but it doesn't like pick up until a little later. So it's up to you kind of as a person, like your tolerance
and what you're interested in. Because actually for the early, I played the economy, and that was like the only time I actually played the economy.
But it was
the very beginning of the game. Yeah.
I guess it's also play fair because I didn't actually get my first captain until hour like 10.
Yeah, exactly.
10 to 12.
But you knew what you wanted, right? So, and even now, it's not something that you really like necessarily like that much. Jeff?
50-50 on stopping after 2 hours and completing the game, but not anything past that. The shipbuilding is very addicting for me. It's very I'm the kind of person where it's very easy to, if you give me something creative to do, I will probably if I'm inspired, I will spend a lot of time. It has been a long time since I played a sci-fi like creative game, so it was really nice to build ships, and it was really fun to come up with names and ship class names, for example. Theming. But
I agree.
It's hard because on one hand, I was obsessed with shipbuilding, but on the other hand, it was just not a very. At the beginning, it was just not very fun. I think it's also getting boring again for me at the blue stage.
I think we all agree that
the blue stage. I want to say at the blue stage, I'm feeling the thing where it's like I feel like I should just finish this game so I can say I finished it.
Yeah.
And be done.
Definitely a bell curve of entertainment.
Where it's like if I have to say that, I'm probably just done.
yeah, I feel that. But I mean, it got a lot of hours out of us.
Yeah, that's true. It does get you on the treadmill, even if it starts falling off. But does anyone have any final thoughts then they want to put out there?
I think earlier Kevin was saying he wished he had 2 monitors. To me, this isn't a 2 monitors thing. This is just a UI thing. They need more UI work, and they need more. This is just time now. They need more content. They need more variety in the gameplay.
But I would argue, like, too, on that, just it's too complicated almost to have good UI. There's too many.
Too many moving parts.
There's a lot of moving parts. I think that's fine though. There's a niche audience that I would be considered part of the audience that enjoys that to an extent. I'm pretty okay with micromanagement, and I do like optimization a lot. The thing is, I wish it had more optimization I could do. I probably would have preferred the 1.0 release. I understand why they changed it because of CPU limitation reasons, but I probably would have enjoyed the 1.0 release more, where designing your ships mattered a little more in terms of automation. Things like that. It's like all the simplicity they push in to help attract more people, which is great, right? Because if I don't want to build a ship, I can use a proc gen ship, right? But then it ends up also meaning that the sort of hardcore niche optimization gameplay crowd, like people who play Factorio religiously, also don't get as much out of it because the game has been simplified. It's a little bit of like, what audience are you trying to go for here? I think in my opinion they're going for a casual audience. The way they changed the automation in 2.0 to be simple one-click mission very clearly tells me that. You go from something that relied a lot more on your core systems of shipbuilding and being good at shipbuilding and made it simpler, that kind of tells me like you're trying to appeal to a more casual player, which is fine. But but then like Kevin said, would a casual player even play this game to start with?
Yeah.
Right? It's like diluting your focus, right? It's like, is it worth pursuing this? I don't know. I don't know.
Food for thought. I mean, I guess my last things is overall enjoyable experience. Not the type of game I ever would have played, I think, myself, but I didn't realize I had a fantasy of being a space merchant rich fleet owner, you know?
I think the majority of people and there's an imperialist that craves power.
Yeah, it creeped out. I was like,
I named all my
own this galaxy
after famous human empires, by the way. And I named them after their role and what they were good at. For example, the scavengers were all Aztec class scavengers. I really dipped into my anthro-chauvinist roots there, you know, human like supremacy across the galaxy.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it is kind of what it says on the tin. Like you look through it and you expect a big open survival space game where you can do some cool space stuff, space theme stuff, and that's exactly what you get. It is, I think, put perfectly. It's shallow but wide, and I think you'll know the type of person. You'll know if you're the type of person who's really going to enjoy this.
Yeah, you would definitely know if you're the kind of person to enjoy this, I think.
But I think overall it's pretty good, and as you can see, everyone found something I think to like.
We played more of it than we played Hades.
That's true. It does. It is very replayable, I think.
Yeah.
There are parts of it that make it quite replayable.
I could not play this game while we were playing New World, so I was like, I could only have one.
Yeah. If you're an MMO person, you can definitely find something to latch onto here. So that was Avorion. It was our game of the month, and this next time we're actually not gonna roll because it's the holidays and we want to make sure it's something we can all finish in time. So we are going to do Ruined King, a League of Legends game, one of Riot's first non-league game. Well,
they have a couple now.
I guess they had a couple, but this is like.
Have you heard of Valorant? You know,
this one's like separate though. You know, it's like feels more separate, I guess. But anyways, we.
What do you mean by feels more separate?
It's more same. It's more.
Okay, I forgot Valorant. I was thinking about TFT, but
this fool doesn't even remember Cho'Gath eats the world.
Yeah, Legends of Runeterra as well. Oh my god.
Yeah, well, no one cares about Legends of Runeterra.
I think they have a rhythm game now too. Sorry.
They do.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
Is it out?
Yeah.
Oh. All right. Well, I'm clearly not a Riot fan. We used to be Riot fans, so that's another reason that we want to play this is that we all have some time with League in our past. So look forward to Ruined King next month. Thank you all for watching.
Turning off the recording again.
Peace.
Bye.
Bye. I stop recording now.
Yeah, you just hit stop.